Hello, and welcome back to the next tour with
Ian?
Andy Andia. Welcome to season two. Um,
Mhm.
right now it is Veterans Day, 2025.
Yeah, my second Veterans Day.
Your second Veterans Day. Here we go again.
Yeah.
And we are going to be dropping this episode though in January. So welcome and happy new year to everyone. But we wanted to kind of talk about a little bit about season one, which of course just wrapped, and get a glimpse maybe into season two, but talk a little bit about, I don't know, our what we've learned from season one. So I'm going to share some stats with everyone. Ready? We had 27 regular episodes in season one. We had two bonus episodes. We did, of course, one blooper episode with Jason, which was quite funny. And then our introduction video. And so if you haven't checked out season one, please go back and watch a few. Across all platforms, we have almost 800 people that are either following or subscribing. So I think that's a win for year one. But to all of our viewers and listeners out there, please share with a friend. We want to keep growing, and we we enjoy doing this, but we'd love to reach more people. So yeah, that's about it. So what did we do in season one, Ian?
Well, we did a lot. We kind of had several major themes, one of them being that we've been following, my best friend Jason through his retirement journey, kind of leading up to his decision to retire, kind of the process that he's been, following, the decision to actually hit the button and apply for retirement. And then we'll keep going on as we get closer to his ceremony and his out processing and him eventually launching into this side of military service as a veteran in the private sector. So, some of the other things, benefits, we talked about, multiple places where you can get benefits with the VA, with your state, with other entities out there. Talked a lot about finances,
Mm.
the good, the bad, and the ugly about all of it,
I
how
wonder
to take care
why.
of
I
it.
wonder
I know,
why we
right?
talked
Yeah.
about.
It's not like we have a financial professional in this household. So, but there's so much that goes into that, not just in preparing for transition, but once you've made that leap and you're on the other side of it, there's a lot to deal with. Education, how to tap into those benefits, where to make those decision points, how to evaluate what's right for you and your family and your situation, career readiness, because the vocation piece on the other side of it's a big deal. If
It's
that's
one of the
something,
shuns.
the shuns, yeah. It's one of those things that we all have to figure out what we want to do in that next chapter or in that next tour, dare I say, right? And then of course a lot of the personal stuff, the different journeys that folks have gone on, and a lot of stories. And I think that those are really the big buckets that we've tapped into in season one. And I think in season two, as we look at what's next in the next year, right? What are we going to talk about? Well, I already mentioned we're going to continue to follow Jason and here's his antics and shenanigans and all that other good stuff as you kind of learn in real time about what he's going through. But what else? What are some of the things that we're going to kind of like throw out there at folks?
Yeah, one of the things we were really interested in, and I think this comes from our interest in the future potentially, which it would be sort of adventuring after retirement or after separation, like taking some time to really go out, either explore the U.S., travel overseas. So we've got some folks we might tap into to have them see if they'll come on the show and chat with us about that. I think one of
Well,
the
we did have Jay
oh
France
yeah,
on
yeah,
in
well,
early one, so his
that
quest, but
I think that
hiking.
was like episode one or
Yeah,
two.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So getting in there, but we want to take it, in a few other directions because it's not just being able to hike, the Pacific Crest Trail, for
Yeah, not
example.
everyone can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Probably this guy right here, is one of those that can't. But what else can we do with that? And I think there's some other benefits that as veterans we can tap into in that space in particular. So
Totally. Yeah, yeah. No, that's a great point. And I think, we've talked about RVing someday.
yeah,
And I think, maybe that's an adventure that, doesn't require your little feet to take you on an
yeah, yeah,
adventure. More
exactly.
of
Or the other personnel carriers. Yeah.
yeah, that's what they're called. I was trying to think of that term and I knew you had it. Um, So I think we're also going to tap into some other resources that we've come in contact with, or that we've had on the show that then have connected us with other organizations that maybe we didn't know about, and we'd love to share those too. So
Well, do me a favor real quick. Let's kind of pull that thread on different organizations and experts that are out there. Kind of what are some of the ones that from season one that you found to be very interesting, things that were brought to light that you may not have known?
yeah, I think the biggest one was Hire Heroes USA. That was, I was very familiar with hiring our heroes. I knew a lot of the other programs like Four Block that you did, America's Corporate Partners, and I'd heard about different ones in that space. But Hire Heroes USA was a new one to me, and now since then I've like dug in and learned much more about them. And then Warrior Scholar Project too, which was of course a connection
Yeah.
through Ross Dickman of Hire Heroes USA, and I had no idea the space they were working in either, and I thought that was such a cool, what a cool organization, and
Yeah,
they're doing
and
such
listening to Ryan Pavel just kind of unpack
yeah.
that,
Yeah,
incredible.
like,
Yeah,
I mean, what passion lies with especially I mean, well, everyone on the show that we've
yeah,
had on has been very passionate, but I think, it's really cool to see these organizations that are really specifically narrowly focused, on
yeah,
specific
yeah.
things. So that was a couple of things for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that I found really interesting as we talked to a lot of these guests was, you know, when we started this, it became a passion project because I was retiring. But understanding that, only 17% roughly, give or take, plus or minus a couple percent here or there, actually make it to a full 20 plus year retirement, pension vesting military career.
Right.
But it's that, 80 some percent else that do one enlistment or, separate out after, in a term or two or at that midpoint, and don't make it until, they fully vest into a military retirement. And that's really, I think, the broader audience that we really aim to get out and connect with. So I think that's one of the things that I really learned about, as we dove in, deep, particularly with Hire Heroes USA and Warrior Scholar Project, was the focus that really was on, those kinds of, service members and well, veterans now, and
Mhm,
what they really bring to the fight and how the veteran community. And oh, by the way, as you mentioned earlier, today being Veterans Day, November 11th, 2025, it what a tremendous way to really kind of think about and focus on, all veterans because,
mhm.
we live in this great country because of what, folks are willing to do when they raise their right hand and say that they're willing to do anything to make this country better and keep it safe and give us opportunity to do things like this.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the big things that I really took away from season one was broadening that perspective and broadening that horizon, being able to bring and leverage, um, different entities and people and experts, together to be able to present to a big, big, big audience on here. So again, appreciate any help in sharing this information and getting out there and connecting with folks. What else? What are
What
some
about
of the
what
things that
about
you
a
were favorites?
theme from this year? Like, I feel like by the end, especially, there was one that was, like, really starting to bubble up to the top. So what do you think was sort of the theme for season 1?
Oh yeah, definitely. You're not alone. Now, while everybody has a unique story and while everybody's transition is uniquely their own, the process, the feelings, the challenges, the successes, all of it, you are not alone out there. So get some help, tap into some friends, share the wealth. Again, that's the genesis of this whole thing is being able to get out there and give truth and give fact and give accurate information and resources to those that are out there because you are not alone.
That's right. So I think the other one for me is that was exactly what I was thinking was you're not alone. But the other one was that transition is hard.
Mhm.
And I think that I don't want everyone to think like, oh, it's this daunting thing that everyone is going through, but there's levels of hardness, right? Like for some people, it may look easy, or you may think it's easy for them because they're posting on social media about how great their life is. But I think transition is hard and it's just in varying degrees. And so I think, knowing that you're not alone, knowing that transition is hard, that it's not, it's not an easy process. And I think everybody maybe conceptually knows that, but like going through it and realizing that like maybe you're struggling, like it's not uncommon. So I think that was the other thing for me too. And knowing that like it's okay if you've had 3 jobs since you left
Sounds like a dig.
service. That's not
Yeah, it's all good.
definitely not. But I think that it does go to show though that things happen sometimes out of your control and sometimes they're just situational. And I think it's okay and tap into your network
Right.
and know your resources, right?
Well, and you mentioned, like on social media, if somebody's posting out there that, hey, life is so great on this side, come over, you're going to enjoy it, whatever. I would say that it's because they put in the work. Um, so when you talk about levels of hardness or what levels of difficulty or whatever, I think in my mind the way that that says is it's about being prepared, and it's
Mhm.
about taking the time to do the work to get yourself across that finish line and on this other side. And even when you cross that finish line, that's just the finish of that particular race. You're going to end up racing more times and more times because there's always going to be something that you're going to have to do as a veteran to help, further your status, help, ensure that you're tapping into the benefits and so forth and so on. But, you know, doing the work on the front end, I think is what makes it appear that it's been easy for whoever you're looking at or talking to or whatever. But I guarantee you, it's because of that's only because they either did it on the front end, or they had the right resources and they tapped into it and they navigated it successfully without a ton of roadblocks. Not to say that it's not hard, because it still is hard. Um, Now, that's not to say that if you're a procrastinator, because we all know procrastinators out there, you might be one in certain
Or
cases.
you might be in a job where you can't
Bingo.
prepare,
That's
right? Because
exactly
you're
where I was going to
running
go.
right,
Mhm.
running for the finish line and
Yeah.
there's no time, right,
Yeah.
to
Maybe it's
have
accidental procrastination,
yeah, right, that's a good
or
way to put it.
you have to
Yeah.
put a pin in it because you simply just don't have the time and space to do it.
So
That's also
knowing
okay.
yeah, knowing
Yeah.
you have the
Yes.
time to be able
Because the
to
system provides some grace in there,
right.
which is also something to remember, is you're not beholden to the immediacy of having to have that claim filed, either on the day of or immediately prior to you separating out. You don't. You have that time up to a year after you separate to be able to file a fully developed claim with the VA. Should you, go down that path, to be able to get a retroactive and statement of that date to the date of your separation. So just remember, there's grace built into the system on purpose because of exactly things like that. Whether your procrastination is of your own doing or the government's.
That's right. That's right. That I mean, that's a great point, and something that I learned along the way too, because I, thinking about your transition, that was one of the things that I was like, oh yeah, we've got to have our ducks in a row, and blah 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 blah. Well, it doesn't always work out that way for everyone. So I think that is a super great point to point out. So looking really forward to season 2 with everyone, and I think the one thing that I'd love to leave our audience with right now is that if there are things you'd love to have us chat about on the show, reach out to us. Let us know. We'd love to, take some of your ideas and run with them and have some guests on and talk about different stuff. So please, reach out with us, connect with us on all the socials, and we look for so much forward to season 2.
Definitely. And again, we really are aiming to be able to make this as broad of an audience as possible, because we know, as I've said, no two transitions are the same. But again, you're not alone out there. And if there are things that you want to hear more about, again, hit us up. We're going to make sure that we broaden that net as best we can. And then if there are topics that we need to dive into again, because we didn't dive deep enough, or we only hit a certain part of it that you want to learn more about, please again let us know, and we're going to continue to get great guests on here to be able to share their wealth of expertise and just continue to grow this net and this collective work together because that's what we're all here to do is, pay it forward a little bit. So thanks again, everybody. Really appreciate you listening in, tuning into the Next Tour podcast. Find us on our website, thenexttourpodcast.com, and you can listen or view all of our episodes on all the socials. All those links are on that website. So again, on behalf of me and Andia, thanks so much for watching and listening, and we can't wait to share season 2 with you.
The views, opinions, and advice expressed by our guest on the next tour are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast, Ian, Andia, or any affiliated organizations. While we strive to provide helpful and accurate information, this podcast is for informational purposes only. We encourage listeners to consult with professionals or conduct their own research before making any significant decisions related to military transition or post-service life. The content is intended as guidance and personal perspective, not as official advice.